has all of the dinim of Pidyon Haben. This week's Parshas Vayis, has the dinim of Pidyon Haben. And this part of Meshechet is the most relevant section from the whole Meshechet. There are other parts that are relevant as well as that, but this parak is the most relevant. When a couple has the firstborn child is a boy, and it was a normal delivery, it wasn't cesarean, so then there's a mitzvah to give 5 shkolim to the Kohen. Exactly how much is 5 shkolim? What does that correspond to? So the Gemara in Kiddushin on Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph explains that there's a pruta. Pruta is the smallest coin that the Tanaim are working with. There are 192 prutas in a dinar, and there are 4 dinarim in a shekel. So if you multiply 192 times 4, that'll tell you how many prutas there are in a shekel. And then you have to multiply 5 shkolim. You have to multiply 192 times 4 times 5.
Is 38.40.
38.40. So if a pruta would be a penny, then you would have to give for the purpose of Pidyon Haben $38.40. The question is, how much is a pruta? So the Gemara in Kiddushin has a discussion. How much is a pruta? The first opinion in the Gemara was a pruta is the smallest coin that you have in your monetary system. So in America, the smallest coin we have is a penny. So the Gemara is Havamina, the original idea, which is incorrect. The Gemara thought originally that a pruta is a penny. The Gemara says that is not correct. That is not the definition of a pruta. So what is the definition of a pruta? So the Gemara leaves you hanging. The Gemara does not give an answer. But in the back of the Gemara Bechorot, they have Hilchas Bechorot by the Ramban. We have no Rif on Masechet Bechorot. The Rif wrote an abridged Gemara on Brachas on Shabbos on Erevin, all the Meshechtes that are relevant to Halacha L'Maaseh. Bechorot, most of it is not relevant, so the Rif didn't write. So the Ramban wrote Hilchas Bechorot L'ha Ramban. So the Ramban quotes a tradition from the Gaonim, which is quoted in Shulchan Aruch, that the value, we have a tradition, the value of a pruta is Mishkal Chatzi Sa'ora Kesef Zakuk. If you take an average size barley grain, what's an average size barley grain? Okay, you have to take 1,000,000 barley grains and see what the average size is. Take an average size barley grain and you cut it exactly in half. You put that on one side of the scale. Then you put silver on the other side of the scale. So it's going to be a speck of silver. So the value of that pure silver, that is the weight of the average size of a mishkal chatzisa, or of a half of a barley grain, is equivalent of a pruta. So you have to multiply. You have to have 3,840 half barley grains. So how much is that? You divide that by 2, so you'll have. So that's how much?
38.40 divided by 2.
Yeah,
1920.
1920. That's 1,920 barley grains. So the value of the silver, that's the weight of 1920 barley grains. How much is that? So most of the poskim are of the opinion that's 96 grams of pure silver. So years ago, silver was low. So Pidyon Haben used to be much less than $38.40. Because the pruta was less than a penny. And today, silver is much higher. So I think today it's a little over $100 it could be. I think Pidyon Haben today. You have to figure out how much is 96 grams of pure silver. So that's how much the father of the baby has to give to the Kohen. He doesn't necessarily have to give it in silver. He doesn't necessarily have to give it in cash. The Gemara in Bechorot in this parak, in the 8th parak, when they speak about the mitzvah of Pidyon Haben, the Gemara says in Kol HaTorah Kula, in all areas of halacha, whenever there's a din that depends on kesef, kesef usually means cash. For example, we have the practice, we get married al yedei kesef. So the chassan gives the kala a ring. He doesn't give the kala cash. The minig by the Ashkenazim is you don't give cash, you give dafke shaveh kesef. Because in all areas of halacha, shaveh kesef, an item which is a value, is dino ki kesef. The Gemara quotes there are only 3 exceptions to the rule where shaveh kesef is not dino ki kesef. One is those who have ever lived in Eretz Yisrael, visited Eretz Yisrael, will know when you have in Eretz Yisrael whatever grows from the ground, fruits or vegetables, you're not allowed to eat until you mafresh trumas hamaisos. So there's a 7-year cycle. Every 7th year is Shemitah. So the first and the second years, and the fourth and the fifth years, after taking out Truma Gedola, Ma'aser Rishon, you have to set aside Ma'aser Sheni. So the Ma'aser Sheni has to be eaten in Yerushalayim B'Kedusha V'Tahara. So today, everybody's Tomei, and there's no Mizbeach in Yerushalayim, so you cannot eat the Ma'aser Sheni in Yerushalayim. So what do you do with it? So the halacha says you have to be paida the Ma'aser Sheni onto cash. So the pasuk says, "V'tzarta hakesef v'yodecha." You cannot be paida Ma'aser Sheni on Shavei Kesef. There, that's one of the three cases where Shavei Kesef is not dina kekesef. That most of the students who learned in Eretz Yisrael will know that din. That to be paida Ma'aser Sheni, it's relevant for America also. If someone buys Israeli produce, and then the Rabbanut doesn't always take responsibility for hafrashas Trumas and Ma'aser. So sometimes in America, you have to be mafresh Ma'aser Sheni, you have to be paid in the Ma'aser Sheni. Or if you're living in Eretz Yisrael, you have to be paid in Ma'aser Sheni. The Ma'aser Sheni, you can only be paid on cash. You cannot be paid on Shavei Kesef. Another din, which is a din min haTorah where Shavei Kesef is not acceptable, is Machzas HaShekel. When everybody has to give Machzas HaShekel, all of the men have to give Bizman Beis HaMikdash or Yekayim, you have to give Machzas HaShekel to the Beis HaMikdash in order to purchase the Karbanos Tzibur. So the Gemara seems to assume that is a din min haTorah. That you're not yotzei if you give Shavei Kesef, you have to give it Davke Kesef. That's why many people have the custom, they have a minig, in Shulchan Aruch they have a custom by the Ashkenazim, I don't know about the Sephardim, that on Purim, there's a different plate for tzedakah. So there's one plate that they give Zecher LeMachzas HaShekel. If a person thinks he's really giving Machzas HaShekel, it's going to pose a problem. It's going to be hegdish and you can't use it for charitable purposes. So that's why it says in Shulchan Aruch that it should say in big letters Zecher LeMachzas HaShekel. They used to give Machzas HaShekel during Chodesh Ador. Whereas Chodesh Ador, they used to announce all over Eretz Yisrael everybody should give the Machzas HaShekel, because the new Karbanos Tzibur that you're going to bring starting from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, a month after Rosh Chodesh Ador, have to be purchased with the new Machzas HaShekel money. So in the days of the Gaonim, every yeshiva always had a problem of fundraising. Every yeshiva in the world has to figure out how to raise funds. So in the days of the Gaonim, they had to come up with a new gimmick. All the old gimmicks were used up already. So there were Gaonim in Eretz Yisrael, Gaonim in Babel. Gaonim were the presidents of the yeshiva. Many of the Gaonim were just fundraisers. They weren't all such great Torah scholars. The Gaon doesn't mean a great Gaon. Gaon means Rosh Yeshiva's Gaon Yankiv. The name of the yeshiva was Gaon Yankiv, and he was the president of the yeshiva. Like today in America, not all the presidents of the yeshivas are such big Talmid Chacham. The president of the yeshiva university is a balabas. He's not a Talmid Chacham, but he's the fundraiser. So he's Rosh Yeshiva's Gaon Yankiv. So one of the Gaonim in Eretz Yisrael came up with this new Einfall, a new gimmick to raise funds. That in the days of the Beis HaMikdash, everybody had to give Machzas HaShekel to the Beis HaMikdash for the purpose of purchasing the Tzmidim U'Musafim, the Karbanos Tzibur, every day. So they said, now we now have no Beis HaMikdash, everyone should give a Machzas HaShekel donated to the yeshiva, a Zecher LeMachzas HaShekel. But because in the days of the Beis HaMikdash they announced that it's time to give Machzas HaShekel starting from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, they gave everybody a month. Not everybody gave the money within the month, but the new Karbanos Tzibur starting from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the fiscal year in the Beis HaMikdash was starting from Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So the new Karbanos starting Rosh Chodesh Nisan had to be brought with the new Machzas HaShekel money. So that's why the practice was, the Gaonim instituted that we today should give Machzas HaShekel to yeshivas, so tzedakahs, during the month of Ador. So in a lot of shuls they collect the Machzas HaShekel on Purim. They make Zecher LeMachzas HaShekel on Tainas Esther on Purim. So many people have the practice, saying Shulchan Aruch, you give $1.50, you give 3 Machzas HaShekel, you give $1.50. Many people have the practice, they won't put in $1 bill and $0.50, they'll put in only coins. They'll put in $1 bill and take out change, and they'll put back on. Why Dafke? Because the Chasam Sofer has this Chumrah, he has a discussion in his Chuvas, maybe paper money doesn't have the status of kesef. Maybe paper money is considered shtar. Maybe only coins, maybe only metal coins have the status of kesef. So since we're trying to make a Zecher LeMachzas HaShekel, and the real Machzas HaShekel in the days of the Beis HaMikdash had to be Dafke coins, and Shavei Kesef is no good, and shtaros are no good, so that's why many people have such a chumrah, they use Dafke cash, they want to use Dafke coins. So here for the purpose of Pidyon HaBen, and then there's a third exception to the rule also, that's only a din with the Rabbanan. when the men come to be Ola Regal, Pesach Shavuos Sukkot, they have to buy a korban Ola Tzriya. They should not purchase the korban Ola Tzriya with Shavuot Kesef. They should only purchase with Kesef. So the Gemara says on Daf Nun Aleph, these are the three exceptions to the rule. When Shavuot Kesef is Lavki Kesef. By Pidyon Abden, Shavuot Kesef is good. I remember I attended once a Pidyon Abden, and the Kohen said he doesn't want money, he wants a becher. What he had in the back of his mind was, if you give money, so a lot of times it's assumed that the Kohen is going to be a nice fellow and give it back to the father. If you give him a becher, you can kiss the becher goodbye. It's not understood he's going to give back the becher. So it was on a Sunday, I remember, and he made the father go, it was in Philadelphia, made the father go drive a half an hour somewhere else to go to the Judaican store and to buy a becher and to give him the becher as a Pidyon Abden.
98 grams?
96 grams of pure silver, and the minig is that you give 100.
The becher should be 96 grams of silver.
Correct, or that equivalent. If it's made from some other metal, it should be equal in value to 96 grams of silver, which today is way more. It's close to 100, maybe it's a little more than $100, which is way more than $38.40. So this is the amount that you have to give for the Pidyon Abden. I should stop.